This is Alphago 0 versus Alphago Master. Alphago Master is white and Alphago 0 is black, for those who keep track of such things. Game begins off with a happy 4-4 points, with Master similarly taking a 4-4 points. Now I will take a moment and be like, all right, that's interesting. He's playing this one, not taking the diagonal corner. He's playing the corner that, you know, most often found in human professional games, where you invite anything and everything. So that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Another 4-4 point for the Alpha 0. And Master similarly takes another 4-4 points. Now, the difference between Master and 0, for those of you who have not been following along, 0 is stronger. That's pretty much all you need to know. 0 is stronger. 0 is the one that was self-taught. Master is the one that, like, played all the peoples. And Master is the one that's getting his face destroyed repeatedly. That pretty much sums up the difference between the two. Now, so far, everything is pretty all hunky-dory. We have double 4-4s. Sure, why not? Approaching to build. Sure, why not? Everything seems to be going all right. We do not pincer, because there's no real reason to pincer. We can just take a corner right now. If we pincer, it's kind of weird. If we pincer, what we're going to be winding up doing is, essentially I'm referring to is this. What I was referring to is essentially this variation right here, where we're giving up our corner for no good reason. You switched a star point for black. Yeah, I did. I got it right the first time, not the second. I done confused myself. Sorry, I forgot. I didn't get my drink. It's alright. Do the miracle of editing. All this will be out of the main video. Look, I'm not gonna say that's true, Fio. I'm not gonna say that's true. I'm just gonna say that I don't have any more. That's all I'm saying. Alright. It's okay. Through the miracle of editing, you won't notice any of this. Nothing's wrong. It's fine. So as mentioned, if we go ahead and pincer here, all we do is just get a little bit of a wall here. Don't really know what we're using the wall for. We gave up our corner. Not really certain how we're going to continue to use that in the future. Suffice it to say that black is going to slowly take a territorial lead while white tries to figure out what this influence is going to be used for. Nice, easy peasy. Everyone could expect that and get that right. And so the game continues. Now, after white backs off here, traditionally, we would be making maybe something like this, a development on the left-hand side. Maybe Sanrin, say, if you're feeling particularly aggressive, you could also go into maybe a double approach into Sanrin, say. That's fine as well. Occasionally when we have a 3-4 point, we can sometimes see a double approach into a low Chinese. A whole bunch of really, really quick ways to get a framework, right? However, King Bleep Bloop, on the other hand, does not go with one of those variations. He apparently frowns on such shenaniganery. And instead, fourth move, 3-3 invasion. And this is what is inspiring everybody. You've probably seen them in your games. I don't care what your rank is, be it 10Q to 10 Dan, whatever. You're probably seeing your opponents really hit that 3-3 invasion, what we would have considered to be very, very early. But thanks to Mr. Zero, there is no such thing as too early. You can hit it as early as you want. Who cares? There is no such thing anymore as playing a 3-3 point too early in the game. So, white blocks like so. Black extends. White Hane is old school, not one of those newer variations that we've been seeing a lot lately. But Hane is old school. And extends. And here's why we're seeing some of the newer variations that I showed in my Joseki video. Because when we get to this point in the sequence, we have a slight problem. And that problem right now is, well, we don't want to let black Hane at the head of 2 and 3 stones, so we're going to keep responding here. Like, if we go back and do something else, then black gets to Hane at the head of 3 stones twice. You can double Hane at the head of 3 stones, as according to, you know, proverbs and whatnot. So this is not something that we ever want to see here, because we lose this game every single time. If we play this game as white, we should expect to lose way over 50% of our games if we're playing in this style, because black is just getting way too much, including development for the stones that he already has on the board, and everything is just going completely well for black, whereas white now has only this area to develop. And I mean, even now you can't play away, so you're going to be trying to build this up in Gote and then just get reduced here, and it's going to be very, 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 very sad for you. So we can't just play away right now as white. We have to respond with the extension again to make certain that we don't Hane at the head. We don't get Hane twice at the head of the 3 stones, which means black has Sente. So he approached your corner, you responded, invaded your corner for free, got Sente, and then played away. So, that's the thing. Just 3 points, free invasion, no difficulty, all Sente. And the idea behind that is why we're playing different, sometimes more aggressive invasions over here as white, to ensure that if we lose Sente, maybe we get more out of it, or if we lose Sente, like in some of the variations that I showed in that Joseki video, maybe we leave black with fewer points, you know, things like that. But here, we have a lot of Alphago Zero games versus Alphago Master games, in which essentially this opening is duplicated over and over and over and over and over again. This, apparently according to Alphago Zero, is the best opening you can possibly play in Go against this particular board. The amount of times that AlphaGo Zero plays this particular pattern kind of indicates that AlphaGo Zero is probably a little of the opinion, mathematically speaking, that this is like the solved opening for this position as of right now. Because out of 40 games that the two played, this appears, I want to say, at least half. In at least half of the games. And that's a huge coincidence. Let's just say. Let's leave it at that. So, alright, we went into the enclosure. White approaches, as you would imagine. We're going to approach the open corner as per opening theory. Black is going to pincer wide just to keep developing that territory. I mean, just invade the corner, take the enclosure, and then extend from it, right? Very, very, very easy stuff. White tries to change direction, maybe build up off the influence. Black attaches, and then we run into another sequence that was played repeatedly again between those two particular bots. Like up until now, this Joseki and this opening is played repeatedly, and even this corner that we're about to see next is also repeated in a lot of the Alphago games. Which is, I want to get this right because it's kind of strange. Normally from here, we would, I don't know, maybe Hane and then go into the 3-3 or something. In this case, white is going to Hane on the inside and allow the cut to take place, like so. And then 0 is just going to be like, alright, I'm going to kill your stone. Mast is going to be like, okay. I'm going to sacrifice by playing the extension down into a diagonal. I'm giving myself more liberties from here. I'm not making life from this, mind you, but I am going to make it so you're going to have to fill these up, and I'm going to have some forcing moves in order to, give up those stones to take your little corner. And sure enough, that's what we see. No Hane here. Into diagonal. Now we're just going ahead and sacrificing. We can't Hane because the cut there kind of sort of kills us. So that's not going to be a thing. So we're going to turn this way instead. And from here, we're just getting rid of our corner, like so. All very, very straightforward. Now, since this has an either or, we could play and kill these stones, or we can still get a base of some kind. Black says, you know what, I don't have to play there right now. I am fine, I've got Mii, I live, or I can play away. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach over here and settle my stone, because we're still interested in developing all the stuff over there. So we get into normal sequences over here, nothing too outlandish. Oops, need a white stone, thank you. And we Atari like so. Only thing I will say here is there are multiple options for white, for black, sorry, after white connects. For example, right here, if we wanted to, we could Atari this one stone and live in the corner. White would play here and force us to live. Instead, black says he wants the outside because he is developing, as you can see here. No reason to ruin that development. White gets a bit more of a wall, making sure that, this isn't going to turn into a wall for black by omitting it, right? We omit that, and then this is a thing. You can see the huge difference between that, where this wall is now being used to develop. Rather, this now is trying to be used to also develop. So we got that going for us like so. White tries to make a little bit of a thing here. Black just keeps developing. And again, from this point, I couldn't really tell you which number Alphago game this is, because this corner sequence is also used a lot in this particular opening sequence. Like, sometimes that's not a 4-4 stone, so the board changes a little bit. But here and here, something that Alphago 0 really, really likes to play. This gives him an awful lot of territory and puts him in a very, very happy position that statistically We are doing well. So white invades. Not going to respond to it. If we start running, we have like Atari and like forcing moves, and then that gets kind of messy, so black just extends. Pretty straightforward. White can try and keep developing here, but you can see how open that area is. So it's going to be tough to actually say that this is going to be profit on the top of the board. As black extends, white is trying to profit, trying to seal, but let's face it, this hole here is just way too large to have ever assumed we are going to be able to realistically kill off the stone. So it isn't until here that black just goes back and just saves himself. Good attempt against some maybe some amateurs. Maybe they'd play here too long, try to extend one more time, and then suddenly the stone's dead, and that's a pretty nice topside. But here black just extended as far as he needed to, and then came on out. Obviously we don't want to lose the stone as white. That would be probably the end of the game. So we're going to see if we can't live, but trying to kill the stone was never the intention. The intention here is simply not to, lose these, right? So we're going to go and do something like so. Force white to work for it just a touch. Do. If you want to live, you gotta go for it. Gonna connect. Extend. Now, this is interesting, because from this point, we are going to poke at the shape point that white has. Trying to force white into a bit of a bad result. Instead, white simply takes stone. Black gets to cut. Now we're threatening a kill, because Atari take, right? Oops, sorry about that. Black defends. White cuts. The cut here forces quite a few moves. For example, we have to ask ourselves many, many questions. Question number 1, is this a threat? That's a really good question, because we can always go here, right now, threatening to kill off the 3 stones, so that nets a response. And then we can go back and kill off this, which is vital. Otherwise, white extends up, and the stones of black that are a very, very bad shape are toast. Because at that point, it would have been 1, 2, 3 liberties versus 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So that just loses, no matter which way you try to capture something. Extending, even though the stone's dead, is very, very powerful, because it means that your opponent can't capture you in one move, has to take more than one, which means we might have forcing moves. So we do this, and then maybe later on we can do something like this, for example, and that would give us forcing move, forcing move. So that's not too bad. For now, white asks the question, can I live here? Because he also has a free move here after all, right? So we see 2 free moves for white. So this does seem like a very valid question to ask. Black says, I'm going to try to keep everything on in. Protect the tiger's mouth. Going to poke. And connect. And go for the maximum amount of base that we can possibly get ourselves. Remember, corner's fine because these two stones over here are dead. So this is just a straight up. Oops, my bad. Sorry. Atari. Derp, 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 derp. This would just be purely Gote and you'd be dead. This, on the other hand, is a forcing move. Sorry about that. And then from there we extend down. Alright. Looks like we've got ourselves a lot of space there. From here, once again, we can extend, because if white tries to cut this off, we could always come down and then extend back and connect back on up. Try and secure ourselves some territory. Threatening black in the corner. Black's got to respond. Pretty big corner, though. Some more housekeeping, making sure that this area doesn't connect, so we're going to go ahead and play there. Not a forcing move, however, so, whoops. So, black extends. This extension also acts as a little bit of an attack on these white stones because those stones are sadly not connected up to anything as of right now. So we attach to the group. It's already pretty strong and see what we can do. Just looking for some shapies. And not letting our opponent play twice. That's usually also a bad thing. Generally speaking. We don't want our opponent to play twice. That's bad. There. Now we can connect. Black just coming in and reducing. Also acting as a little bit of a line here between these stones. Which is why we keep playing here. Gotta connect on up. Threatens to cut on through. Black comes back. White says, "Yeehaw. I got my cut." Black says, "Okay, time to be completely safe and connect up my groups." White says, "I'll be completely safe and play this." And now we run into the second part of the interesting thing about good old Alphago 0. And that is, it does not respect walls in the slightest bit. And doesn't seem to have a very, very particular high value for influence in general. Because this, for example, it tends to view them as rather heavy structures and will just poke at them like way behind enemy lines. Like, we're just going to poke the cut point and then just live here. It's completely fine. Whatever. So we see white responding. 0 threatening a kill. White goes back and connects. And then suddenly this group is in trouble. It's true, it's in trouble. This Hana here just feels the attack against the stone. So that's little unusual. Little unusual to play the Hane here. White extends. A lot of Aji there, but first we're going to create a little bit more. We're cut off, so we get more shape. We don't waste our time like poking and trying to cut this and see where it goes. We're cut off, screw it, just get shape. Now we go back and connect, or extend. Fixing some shapies. That's good enough. If white actually pushes and cuts through there, that doesn't matter because what we were trying to do was reduce this line. And if this line is now on this line, I'm pretty certain that you can see there's a significant reduction that just took place there. White responds. Black defends, which triggers white having to cut or die. And again, same thing. Now, if you have been frustrated in your games by your opponents just trying to live everywhere, I do want to say that's not going to be going away anytime soon. The reason being is you've just seen an example twice in a row as to why that is. We saw black playing point blank against a wall, an amount of influence, and, you know, get out pretty willy-nilly. And we're seeing it yet again. Yeah, idea behind influence and walls and such, not really things that Zero seems to have a lot of respect for. It's all about that territory, hence the 3/3 invasions. So white responds nice and strong. Black drops down. White has to connect on up. And then from there we just keep trying to live. Again. Doesn't matter how much influence is here, 'cause we're just gonna live do. So here you go, just gonna live everywhere. Don't mind me. Just gonna live in all the things. Influence? Psh, don't matter. Walls? Psh, don't matter. Only your 3/3 point. Now that there matters. Tries to keep him on in. Doesn't give a dang. Excuse me while I live in your area. Even that right there is a successful invasion because that is a co in an area that was predominantly whites a moment ago. So now we can play co-threats. Wait a minute. I'm an idiot. I had him play twice, didn't I? Yeah, let's take the co first and foremost, because I know how this game is played. Alright, so we have that. Then we have that. Then we have that. And then we have that. There we go. White's just going to connect. We can give up some stones if we need to. Doesn't really matter. Now that we have Sente, let's go back to... Let's just go back to reducing that crap called influence. We don't really care. Needless to say, Alphago 0 would very much not like Shibano Torimaru. Probably think that he is the weakest human on the planet. It's like, what? You play for influence? What's your problem? Why would you do that? Oh my god. And let's not even talk about the people who open up on Tengen. Oops. Sorry, I missed a move. I missed an exchange. My bad. I got distracted. Atari. And then we come out. That was exchanged earlier. Nothing of value has really changed in the sequence. Suffice it to say, when Black played the Tiger's Mouth, White obviously Atari'd first, and then went back and played something else. Ever get the feeling you're wrong twice in a row? Oh, no, you're not. There we go. Alright, there, and then there. We're just snaking on through. La 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 la. Looking for more Aji. Now this one actually surprised me, believe it or not. Like, why wouldn't you respond here? I actually don't know. Suffice to say, Master played away, and then congratulations, this gets to live. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, I'll confess. There's probably point-related issues. Master's like, well, if I answer that and then that gets free, then I'm like X points behind or something, so I have to go back and do something else. I'm assuming. So we play this instead. This is clearly alive now. Oh, right. We're killing this. Not bad. Now I understand. I forgot. That group was almost dead. That's cool. So we live here. We killed that off. We made an exchange. Now we're trying to do something over there. White connects. Black also connects. And now we can revisit the idea that we are in fact dead here. The question becomes, are we really? Revisiting the question, is the corner dead? 0 says no. I've got my eyes. I got my eyes. I got my eyes. And then he bamboos and lets us connect on out. Now, that deserves a look at or two, right? So the problem here is, can we do anything there? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that seems like a lot, don't you think? We also have this. So we've got an Atari there, and the more, the stronger opponents amongst you, or players rather, can already see where this is headed. We've got the Atari, we've got the cut, right? This isn't taken right now. So Atari down doesn't really go where you want it to, which means we've got a lot of problems here. Because if we take, we also have a Hane here. So there's a lot of potentially dead things coming up. Right? Because we've got the Hane here, we've got a cutting point here, and we can't defend simultaneously both at once. Right? Black is going to either get in something like this, and then those stones are toasty, or we're going to connect now, cut, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Seems like we know who's going to win that round, right? Which is why undo, 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 undo. We do not block there, we block here instead. So this threat was not actually a threat. And black gets to connect. Sad face. White cuts, trying for the whole thing. That doesn't work because there's Mii. White connects under. That's fantastic. Unfortunately, there's still a freaking Atari there. And there's a take there, which means that's not actually a thing we have to respond to at the present moment because that liberty's not gone. That's not an Atari. Instead, the top is just a ko. Now, one thing, excuse me, one thing that you're noticing immediately is the Alphago 0 strategy requires a lot of being right in very, very bad situations. Like we're seeing a very territorial style here, a complete disregard for influence, and being able to tell completely when something works or doesn't beyond a shadow of a doubt, obviously. Like knowing that this actually wasn't going to kill you, there was a thing there we can do, knowing that we have like attachments here that we can just try and be a jerk with, that's a thing, and playing really, really close to thickness without getting horribly overwhelmed, getting horribly in trouble, and just making a giant mess in the middle of the board that's just gonna run and probably kill us completely. None of these things are things amateurs or most professionals particularly excel at. So I do want to caution everybody who is trying to embrace the way of Alphago and use this sort of style in your own play, because I can... It's very risky. To say you probably lack the tools to pull this off effectively is probably an understatement. But you can, of course, experiment with it in your own games and see how it goes. Maybe you'll have some luck. So here we Atari, because we don't want that to happen. We are now in a ko for the top group. These things are still ko threats. Gotta love ko threats, gotta love ko threats. We didn't retake, did we? Am I hallucinating? No, we didn't. We do connect. Alright, sweet. So we connect. And we connect. And then there's probably an Atari here too. Very, very close, yeah. Trying to save our stonies. Alright, we've got a cut point here and a cut point here. Might be a thing. Back to ko. Can connect here for the Hane, which would involve a kill. So we're going to answer that. That's easy to read. And then we're going to go back to ko. And then black's just going to go ahead and connect like so. Threatening to link up the stones that white tried to profit from earlier with the earlier ko. So now we're in like a co to protect the profit from the other co. And then back to co. You can go ahead and cross cut on in. I do want to point out, don't feel bad about your own play. If you get things like this wrong in your game, the sheer amount of variations that go into this kind of fighting are, let's just say there's a lot. And yeah, your brain probably just isn't able to go through all of them, and that happens. That happens in human play. In fact, oftentimes, professionals will say they played something out that they weren't entirely certain worked, it didn't, and then they had to find something to come back into the game with. There's like a little bit of bluffing and back and forth in human play. So there probably is a little bit of that in yours too, and I would say that's perfectly natural. I also want to say that I don't know whose turn it is. Oh, blacks. No, wait, whites. Wait, what? Oops. After the take here, we didn't retake. Oops, my bad. Sorry. Then we pushed and retook, I think, yeah? I think that's how that happened. I got distracted. I went off on a tangent. Sorry. Either way, it's white's turn now. And we can just go here, and then back to co on top of the board. There's more than a little uncertainty in my moves. Yeah, mine too. Mine too. There can be bluffing in Alphago too? Yeah. I think Alphago is bluffing on the whole, this being like the only opening you can play with the 4-4. That smells like shenanigans to me. I don't think it's correct about that one. Go ahead and take that. Go ahead and push here. When I selected this game, I had no idea the co actually went on this long. I just kind of picked an Alphago game at random that had a great showcase on the new opening styles that we've been seeing and where they've been coming from. Yeah, I know. Failed to retake. But by now, you all know that this is all like getting taken and retaken and taken again, retaken again, and yeah. Miai, keep in mind, save this, take that. Da-da-da-da-da, threaten to kill everything, da-da-da-da-da, kinda like so. That's a pretty big threat right there. You know, threatening to come back and question the life status of the corner. That's a big one. Atari. Take. Connect. Oh, sorry, my bad. Black doesn't get to play twice. There we go. Disconnect is what I meant to say. And then retake. There we go. Threaten to cut through. Cut doesn't work because, oops. Can just connect. Also gives a few more co-threats, I think, to the opponent. Retake. like so. Get to connect, like so. And then take like that. And then retake the co. And on and on and on we go. That right there is pretty big because there is more co-threats, Ataris, things like that. So that's a co-threat. This game is pretty good for you to learn from if you have trouble learning co. Or learning where co-threats are. How to maximize them, all that good stuff. This is probably definitely a good game to review for that purpose. And on we go. It is the co that never ends. It just goes on and on. I actually have no idea when this co ends. That threatens to kill because we take, and then it's oopsie daisied. So we connect here. Don't have to worry about other threats because you can't Atari yourself and you can't do that either, so it's okay. If you were to have taken this stone, you're still alive, but then that could be a problem too, potentially. There we go with this. That threatens someone gut, so we have to respond, otherwise we're in trouble, and then it's back to co. Getting... Alright, so now we go and play here, which means we have to go back and now live over here, because we need 2 eyes. But first we can play here, because the Atari threatens to connect up. So we can pick up a couple of points that way first in Sente. That, however, is not expected. Once again, the question is, are you actually able to kill? Well, we could play there, but then I don't know. Yeah, because like if you play here to block that from being made, aren't you just going to Atari connect, extend, and then you've got an eye there? So he plays here. At that point, black just plays here. Then there's an eye there potentially. So what are you going to do then? Are you going to block that? That's not really going to work, right? Because then we just go and play here, threatening this one or the descent. Yeah, that's again not actually a thing. Looks like Master is a little bit off in the code department. Oh, but he's going for it after all. Master's like, no, stupid, this is a co-threat, I swear to God. Unlike the last 2 I played, this one really is a co-threat. So now we're in a co for a completely different group. Black extends because the Hane kills. That is a problem because that's a threat, that's a threat. So many threats, so many threats. Hey, look at that. White got an eye. That's cute. Last I checked, we needed 2. And this is where Master goes insane. Throws in, but that doesn't work. Last time I checked, you couldn't kill a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 space corner. Those things are hard to do, not gonna lie. That's a little tough. And again, the question, can I cut through here? The answer to that is no. Master is just kind of short-circuiting. Goes here. It's like, alright, fine. I'm gonna take the stone, I guess. Otherwise, you know, take, retake, and then this is like in trouble. Make sure that's not an eye. But that's okay. If I don't have 2 eyes and you don't have 2 eyes, there's a word for that. Hey, look at that, back to co. The pile continues to grow. Da 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 da, back to co we go. I do want to point out that Master is the one that destroyed humans left and right. Do you want to point that out? Feel like that needs to be said at this point. This is not just some, you know, crazy weak bot that was just found on learntoplaygo.com or something. This is a very strong one. Very strong version of Alphago. Finally kills. More short-circuiting from the Alphago Master. Self-Atari, maybe that works. It doesn't. Connects. That doesn't work either. That's not going to work either. Just go ahead and fill that one. Do get to cut here and kill those stones. That's been a thing for a while. That's fine. And we honey and connect like so. White throws in, removing a liberty. Black takes, putting that in Atari. White has to fill, otherwise that's awkward. And black simply plays here, making certain that white doesn't have very many liberties. White plays here, short-circuiting again. Goes back and connects. Black throws in. White connects. I'm almost out of stones. Now here we can see that that's actually a Seki because we can Atari there, that takes, but black can never place these 2 stones or else bad things happen. Threatens to Atari. A little bit of a monkey jumpu. So we just threaten to kill off a bunch of stones. White has to connect. And then we actually get all the points in the corner. Pretty good. White plays there, full on take. We're now playing stones from the bottom of my bowl that I have never touched since I put them in there. Has to take. Interesting thing about this is we also have an Atari here into an Atari there. Oh, wait, no we don't. Wait, what happened? That was... Oh, shoot, I missed a stone. Wait, what? When did I miss a stone? Oh, I never answered the Atari. Oh, I'm a moron. I never answered the... Yeah, I never answered the Atari. When black originally cut... Yeah, I never answered the Atari there. Good enough. My bad. Like I said, he's skipping moves. I skipped one move. Yeah, I did skip one move. I skipped that one. After the Atari. Yeah, after the Atari, there was a counter Atari. I think I connected on habit. I think I connected here on habit. But yeah, that wasn't it. Yeah, I skipped 2 for 3. Anyway, it's fine. After that, black takes here because why not? This is not anywhere near a close game. White plays the Atari. Black counter Ataris. And then Alphago Master resigns. Black wins game. So that's a game. The most important things about this, I do want to go and mention the things to take it most from the AlphaGo Zero games. One, AlphaGo Zero does not like influence. It'll play directly at your wall and then proceed to try to live. It'll play in the middle of your influence, then proceed to try to live. And it will take away your points at the beginning of the game because it values points very much and not influence quite so well. A lot of amateurs have been trying this style of play as well. Has not been going terribly effective for them because they are not good at making shape. So they wind up getting horribly destroyed because they give up a lot of influence early on in the game. At least that has been my impression from Q to mid-high dons. Either they can't deal with the influence they're giving away early on in the game, or they just can't deal with the same attempts to get rid of the influence later and make the shape as well. That's BF9 kills. Looks strange. I don't know what BF9 is. 1 second. F9, F9, F9. I have to use my finger. I don't have coordinates. You do. F is here. Well, this stone's not there for starters. Is this F9? No, F9 is F9, 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 F9. BF9 kills. Yeah, that does look strange. Like I said, I skipped a couple of stones. Sorry. We're not talking about it. I skipped 2. Look, I skipped 2 moves. I may have skipped 2 moves for white, okay? During this the only thing that I was really thinking about during this was the fact that this is how many stones left I have in my board. It's like, please end soon, because if you go to counting, this is gonna suck. Like, that's what I was thinking about during the Like, at that point, I have to go back into the captures and just, like, start using those. So, admittedly, maybe... What does Alphago say is the optimal Komi? Who knows? I don't think it says anything, right? It doesn't have an opinion. It just does what it's programmed to do. It's not that kind of AI, right? That is pretty crazy though, Alpha Zero disrespect. Yeah, it does disrespect influence. It doesn't seem to weigh influence very heavily. Now, whether who knows why that is? Who knows why that is? We will never know. I do want to point out that you want to be very, very careful trying to play this sort of nonchalant style in your own games, unless you are capable of solving the Ego Hatsuyo run and you have mad life and death skills, because if you can't and you try and get into positions like this, you'll probably throw games. Like, no disrespect to Alphago and its style of play, but as amateurs, if you try this, you probably will die. So I want to warn you very, 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 very slightly, very lightly, that you may, very gently, you may be careful trying to embrace this way of playing, because it's harsh. If you don't have the counting and life and death skills that this does as well. Yeah, there's a lot of reading. Yeah, there's a lot of reading. I didn't look at the AlphaGo Zero papers, but I forget exactly how many different variations that it reads through, like per second or whatever. With its hardware, I'm just going to assume a lot. You may just get murdered is what you're trying to say and never want to play the game again. I mean, you may not want to play that style again, because there's a reason why we haven't been teaching people to invade things really, really early on. And that's because it's difficult to deal with what is the value of the wall later? How do you deal with the strength later? All that kind of stuff. That's really, really, really tough to deal with, to the point where we have been teaching that it's just not a very good thing. And even though AlphaGo plays like this, I don't think that's going to suddenly change. I don't think people are going to suddenly be teaching beginner classes or whatever that influence just isn't very vital, and that's an okay thing. I think that's pretty much going to remain a no-go area. I think each version of AlphaGo showed that the one that came before it did have weaknesses. Like this one showed that Master's not very good at reading co-threats for whatever reason, right? Because it kept screwing up threats repeatedly in the middle of the board. That's a pretty huge thing for good old Master, the Master version. Seems to indicate there's a little bit of a problem area with the Co, right? Because it didn't handle the Co at all. Yeah, true. That is true. Bots do play differently when they're behind. Like here, we saw Master play a decent game, then it started playing, garbage moves. Yeah, when they do get behind, it's all based on percentages, right? Like, what percent chance does this move have to succeed? And when you get to low enough numbers, like this move has a percent chance to succeed based on the other available moves. So it plays it, right? What about Shinjinso games? I haven't seen Shinjinso's recent game, if he's had one, sorry. Obviously, I still like Shin. Shin's cool. And Shibano. Though it's kind of sad though, because Shibano is my crush right now, right? And if Alphago could speak, it would just be talking trash at Shibano 24/7. It's what are you doing with that style? That style doesn't work, you stupid human. So, I don't care about you, Mr. Bleep Bloop. I'm still gonna like Shibano. So, hope you enjoyed today's game. Hope you enjoyed the stream. I will see you all next time.